Ich finde, dass sich sehr gut spielen lässt. Also es hat keine.
I think it can be played very well. There are no technical difficulties. One must simply produce the sounds. Wallmann handled the instruments wonderfully. I especially like the bassoon number. There are even 5 different numbers with 5 different soloists, so winds, flute, bassoon, horn. And he handles the instruments very individually and very well. Over the evening, I hope this long span of tension carries through till the end of the piece for everyone. But it also has the ability to shift out and move back in again. It's like a natural state. I like it very much. There's not so much to add to that. I also feel it's something very meditative. One almost falls into a trance. This won't be true for the soloists, since they have to play some very challenging parts. It reminds me a bit of Prometeo by Luigi Nono. I played it many years ago. And like then, there were smaller and larger groups, and soloists all around the room, and with the sound wandering around and coming from here and there. So this reminds me very much of Prometeo. And I can imagine, with the audience sitting in the middle, that they experience it differently than we do from our individual positions. This is a wonderful experience, an all-around sound, or how do you say it? Surround sound. Yes, naturally. Because there are also very beautiful colors which arise as sound. That's a wonderful experience, a wonderful concert. Yes, I think so too. So the sounds he makes, it's incredible. Wallmann has an incredible ability to create sounds, all in a natural way. Sounds so fascinating that you yourself are wondering how he creates them. For example, we have music here where the bow has to, in effect, circle the instrument, creating sounds I've never experienced on my viola. Working with the orchestra is wonderful. This is a very good orchestra. And we have excellent soloists, which makes it fun, absolutely. The sound's important here. And it's very good we have such an orchestra, because it's similar to classical music. It has to be really perfect, and the colors have to be right, etc. And we have exactly the right orchestra, and of course, exactly the right soloists. Extremely good. I'd previously conducted a Schönberg program in Berlin, and then Johannes Wallmann came and asked me if I was interested in conducting his new piece. To tell you the truth, I wasn't familiar with his music at the time. He sent me a recording, and after hearing it I said, yes, with pleasure. Wallmann is something special in the German music scene because of the way he uses sound and the way he's interested in verticality. Like other German composers, such as Stockhausen, he's interested in surround sound. I'd describe his music thusly. These are long pieces where the colors of the sounds themselves are like melodies, maybe somewhat influenced by Schönberg. And yet Wallmann employs a strong verticality of chords. He uses the polytonality of these chords, like Messiaen.
Eine starke Vertikalität von Akkord und benutzt diese Polytonalität für die Akkord sowie Messiaen.
Ist sehr durchdacht, sehr konzeptionell, aber
it's very well thought out, very conceptual. Not only intellectual, but also deeply felt. It's not only music for the head, but it's also a very, very deeply emotional music that carries over to listeners.
einfach, das Werk zu verstehen, weil
It's actually relatively easy to understand the work, because it follows a very, very accurate system. Not only in terms of the notes, everything has a relation to one another. The preparation was obviously a very big undertaking to, in the end, achieve the desired result. That's very difficult. It's a technically very difficult work, whereby a lot of time is required. But I think ultimately it's very good. What I particularly like is the idea of the co-soloists, of course not only with me. Because my piece was the first one, I had the good fortune this evening to hear all the others after I played mine. This is a very good, very interesting piece, and something I haven't till now experienced.
Wie sich jetzt auch in den Proben herausstellt, ist es einfach eine
Even in the rehearsals, one can already appreciate it. Simply a delight. A glorious sound emanates. There is indeed a multiplicity of sounds. And he has very precise ideas about just how each should be. One can't have just taken any approach, as some might have been comfortable doing. If you look really closely, you'll observe the precise handling, the exactly right approach required in order to produce, in the final form, such split sounds. So I find his music very convincing, inspiring even. I think the basis of this music is technically excellent. And without pandering to the audience, the music is, as well, nice to listen to. Wallmann's music is transparent. The listener probably doesn't feel he's being hit over the head, and then not able to understand some things. So I think this music is of a very high level, even internationally speaking.
Ich halte es für eine Musik auf einem sehr hohen, auch internationalen Niveau.
Also zuerst mal sind wir ja drei Klarinetten, der Kilian
So,
Herold
first off, we're three clarinets, Kilian Herold and Matthias Badzong, who'll be stationed in separate areas among the seats of the Berliner Philharmonie. And this is a special experience, but it also presents a particular challenge, since we have to play many things together or overlapping that we need to coordinate. And then we have the wonderful orchestra here too, and Frank Oulu, whom I know from Ensemble Moderne. It's really terrific work to be involved with, very professional, focused, and demanding full concentration. It's exhilaratingly fast and virtuous, but then too, delivering a big, generous sound, beautiful. It feels a little different than when you're purely a soloist in front of the orchestra. It's a much bigger organism that knows no main player. So it's a very open, free-flowing piece.
Deswegen auch ein sehr, wie soll man sagen, offenes und freies Stück.
Vor allen Dingen hat es viel Spannung durch die Verschiedenartigkeit der 5 verschiedenen Stücke.
Above all, it has a lot of suspense as a result of the variations among the 5 different pieces. Each piece is specially written for the particular instrument. You can hear perfectly well the difference between each of the solo voices, which are developed individually. In addition, each solo voice has 2 echo partners in the hall. And in this space, which one experiences, of course, through the sound, it's just incredibly exciting, and it's amazing how much is going on. Of course, what's so interesting is the instrumentation and the distribution of the instruments in the space. It's a very effective piece for the audience, and I think the audience will greatly appreciate it, because especially when one's sitting near the center, the many sound and spatial impressions can be really inspiring. Especially his idea of surround sound is very original, and yet too traditional. And then, with this echo effect, it brings with it. This technique's not often used, but it's really beautiful.
Aber das ist immer eine Technik, die vielleicht nicht so oft benutzt ist, und das ist schön.
Of course, I also thought, and it's my great hope, that maybe one or another concert can also be established outside this particular cycle. If I believe the opinions of the soloists, then there really is a chance of that happening. This is why, though I take the hall into consideration, I write pieces that will work well in more venues than in just this hall. For me, I understand music intrinsically as space, and more than just as surround sound. Rather, the music itself is a space and has the ability to move a person's thoughts and feelings. So I'd like to invite you to enter into this space of music.